Hello everyone, we're back playing Sekiro. We just made it to this mysterious new place via the Buddha idol in the dilapidated temple, so let's see what this is all about. First, before you go deep into here, turn around from where you started and there is a pellet back here. Then come out here and you learn that we are in Harada Estate, which you may have heard of from certain NPCs and remnants already. And then we got a long drop down, but so that you don't hurt yourself, make sure you grapple onto these trees on the way. By the way, when you do these kind of drops into a mid-air grapple, we're going to do more than one of them for sure. You can just mash the grapple button, just to be safe. And then from here you can just drop down. Grab this item and talk to this guy. Feel free to ask him some questions. Ow! I got a cat needing biscuits on my lap right now. Alright, and with that done, you can inspect him if you want. He just says the same thing. And we're gonna jump over here and try to get this guy. Be careful of the guy coming towards you, because we got a new... oh, there you go. We got a new enemy, a torch wielder. They act the same as normal soldiers. They're pretty easy to just tear through their defensives. The problem is two things. One, they can swing their torch and inflict the burn status on you, which deals damage over time. See? They have perilous attacks, perilous stab attack, and they can call their friends if they're in a big group. But if you're super aggressive, then you can take them down pretty easily. Also notice, even though I deflected his torch, I still took a tiny chunk of damage. So those two guys walk up and down that bridge, so we'll get rid of them, and then come back here to get a dousing powder, which cures burn. Perfect. In fact, if you're worried about it, you can go ahead and equip it in the quick items. And then we're going to jump down here on the other side of the bridge, and on the other side of this rock is a treasure carp scale. They act as currency for a certain merchant that we're about to find. And you can actually get them off of treasure carps. So climb into the water here. You can swim in this game, unlike other Dark Souls. And slowly come to the side of the bridge, and if you can see him, there's a fish swimming around on the other side. There he is. That is a treasure carp, and if you kill it, it dies in one hit, and it drops a treasure carp scale, which we're trying to get 2 or 3 of. So the problem with him is the minute he sees you, he will quickly swim away and disappear. So luckily you can dash underwater too. So what you want to do is swim towards him while basically mashing the lock-on button until you lock onto him, and then quickly dash towards him while hitting the attack button. So you can dash and attack, and you do like that forward stab. So what I do is I dash and dash until I get close enough to where I know that last dash is going to hit him, and then that's when I do the dash attack. So there's another treasure carp in here somewhere. So up there I see some movement. There he is. So hit the lock on button, and then dash, dash, dash attack. And now there's actually another treasure carp right around here somewhere. Oh, there he is. But unfortunately he's underwater and you can't get to him. You can try if you want. Oh, because sometimes you get lucky and you clip him. Most of the time he'll run away and disappear. And the treasure carps, they disappear and then respawn about 5 seconds later back at their original spot. So you can keep trying if you want, but we really only needed the 3 treasure carp scales, so it's not necessary to kill that one. You may have noticed a pot talking to us as that was going on. Come and talk to this guy to find...
恋の鱗を知らんかい。キラキラ光る宝鯉の鱗。それを持てば存分に褒美を取らそうぞ。
Pot Noble Harunaga. This is one of the vendors that can trade for treasure carp scales. He has Divine Grass, which fully heals you and cures all burns, poisons, what have you. A Withered Red Gourd, which acts as a healing gourd for burn status. It's always got 5 charges and can always replenish when you rest at a Sculptor's Idol. The only problem is, as you might be able to read, it cannot heal the burn status. It'll completely reset your burn build-up gauge, but if it hits the top and you get burned, this will not do anything for you. Then you have to use a dousing powder. He also has a Mask Fragment Right, which when combined with the left one, makes an item that lets you trade, I think it's 5 skill points for 1 extra attack power, which is only useful in much farther new game pluses, etc. So we're actually not going to even bother obtaining that. But also has Floating Passage Text, which is basically a free combat art, which we will be coming back to get. Can't get it right now, however, and I do suggest we spend the money on the Withered Red Gourd. So really you only need 2 treasure carp scales. So once you get the 2, you can stop there if you want.
良き心がけ褒めてとらす。また鱗持っておいでや。
This guy always makes me think of that character in Majora's Mask. Anyway, come to the end of the rock here to pick up this. And then we're going to go to the shores here, but be careful because there's... Alright, quiet you. There's a dog and a soldier facing us against that tree. There's the dog walking around. I'll try to sneak around and get this guy. Then we can take care of the dog. And there's another treasure carp out here if you really want to bother to try. Ta-da. Loot that. Get this in the boat. Then come back. We want to grapple up here. And then we want to be very careful. There's not only a torch wielder over here, but there's 3 dogs right in front of them that are hard to see from where I'm standing. Furthermore, at the end of this bridge, you can't see him because there's a cliff in front of us, but at the bottom of that cliff is another archer, I believe. What I'm going to try to do is sneak up and get that torch wielder, but the dogs are going to get alerted before I reach him, so I want to kind of make it quick. Now hold that block button. Ow. And we get a twofer. I was lucky. And we did not alert that guy. Which means we can sneak up behind him. Stick to the wall. And go. And we get our second skill point. Huzzah! Perfect timing, because there is a sculptor's idol right here. Is there an item over here? No. Over here? No. On the other side of this gate. Commune with this. Rest. And I am gonna go ahead and get the Makiri counter. What that does is it enables one to counter enemy thrust attacks by stomping down on an enemy's weapon, dealing large amounts of posture damage. The way it works, I believe it says right here, yep, you just dodge preferably towards the enemy. When a perilous attack symbol appears over your head, the red kanji, during a thrust attack, and you'll step to the side, plant your foot down right on the weapon, and it deals an immense amount of posture damage. It's very, 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 very good. Unfortunately, it only works with certain enemies that do thrust attacks, but it's enough to make it totally worth it, especially considering a lot of them are mini-bosses. This will help to trivialize a lot of them. So with all that in hand, let's continue on. Get this item right here. Don't go down to backstab him like I was about to, because there's an archer at the end that'll see you. So you can do one of two things. You can wait for him to come all the way back and use a ceramic shard on him. But me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and grapple up on top of this, and you can actually work your way all the way around him. So you drop down on the other side, get the spirit emblem, continue to walk forward, and in the very back here is a sugar. Then what you can do is we can ledge grab on this wall. You gotta wall jump to get to it. Climb up, crouch down, and in the corner here is a gentleman waiting to ambush you. So turn the tables with a plunging death blow. And hug the wall. And some of these enemies will drop oil, which you can throw at other enemies to increase their vulnerability to burn. And what we have here is we have a soldier facing us. He's currently talking to a guy on the ground who is an archer. And we got the patrol from earlier. So we're going to wait for that patrol to turn around, and then I'm going to toss a ceramic shard at the soldier. Throw it at the soldier and not the archer sitting down, because, as I've said before, archers do not investigate where ceramic shards come from. They'll just stand there, poised with whatever ranged attack they have, waiting for you to show your face. So whether it's an archer or a rifleman or anything like that, they won't move from their spot. You have to go to them. See, here's proof. Even though he has the yellow triangle up there, he's not moving. He's just looking around, waiting to see what he can shoot. But this guy gets close enough, we can yank him. I'm gonna wait for the patrol again, and while I do that, I can explain that if you are doing what I'm doing right now, and you're gonna be pulling several people from behind a wall, don't want to collect the loot just yet, because when you hold the square button to collect the loot, you also activate whatever action the square button is currently holding. So what I mean by that is, if I were to hold the square button right now to collect the loot from the guy I just killed, I would also stop hugging the wall. And I don't want to stop hugging the wall. So I'll just wait. Now I want to stop hugging the wall though, so I'm going to crouch down. And I'm going to sneak up behind this guy. You gotta be kind of careful because you gotta squeeze in the middle here. Now I can collect the loot. Back up to my little hidey hole. And now if you're daring, you can wait for the patrol. Or you can just bum rush the patrol and fight them head face to face. Or you can do what I like to do. I don't like to take any chances And again, since this is supposed to be for the casual gamer, we want to make this as easy as possible. Might require a little patience, but trust me, you'll save yourself so much frustration. So I'm just gonna wait. He'll turn around, and then I'll go get him. Watch out for the fire on the left there. Loot him. Another thing I'm not sure I've mentioned before. This door's locked, by the way. I know I've mentioned you lose half of your money when you die, but you also lose half of your... Oop, I'm being seen. Half of your experience. My little experience bar down on the bottom right. If I build that up to the top, I get a skill point, but if I were to, say, die right now, I have almost 150 experience, I would lose 75 of it. You lose half. But the good news is you only lose half of whatever your current bar is. So if you have like 2 skill points and 150 experience, and then you die, you don't lose an entire skill point and 75 experience. You just lose half of the experience you currently have saved up. What that amounts to is sometimes when I'm about to get to an extremely difficult part, if I'm very close to obtaining the next skill point, I'll go ahead and do a little bit of farming just to cap off my experience, and then I don't have to worry about losing nearly as much if I were to die. With all that said, pick this up and be very careful. Oop, over here. There's not a very nice way to attack all 3 of these gentlemen, and there happens to be a 4th one in the building over there. So, what you can do, and also to note, is the man with his back turned is a new enemy with an axe, who attacks very, very slowly, but very does a lot of damage. So I want to be careful of those. What you can do is you can jump up and grab onto the wall and drop down behind the building. What you really want to do is you don't want to alert the torchbearer, because he can call his friends. There's the guy in the building I was telling you about. So there's the 2. So I'll try to stealth kill this guy. Which somehow did not pull the others. I was not expecting that. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rush up and try to kill the torchbearer. And then face these 2. I forgot he was an archer. So rush over to him because they are very annoying at range and die very quickly. So you can just bum rush him, strike him twice, and then death blow him, and then you just got the one guy to deal with. All of these little bandit soldiers, they're technically bandits, all these bandits have very low defenses. So more often than not, it's easier to just run straight up to them, hit them a couple of times until they break their posture. You don't have an end to your combo, so I mean you can just keep mashing the attack button until they die. Okay, so with all that done, go into the building, and where that guy was crouched down, there's an item. And there's another item behind these buildings. I think it's a sugar of some kind. Bingo. Then we want to come up and grapple onto this tree. This is not an easy area to clear, but we're going to try our best. We've got a dog here, we've got a dog and a torchman patrolling. The key is this archer at the end of that building on the roof, if you can see him. There's a torchbearer on the other side of him. But then there's also 3 enemies surrounding that bonfire, and there happens to be one sitting down on the other side of that building. So first thing we want to do is you can get rid of these dogs pretty easily with a shuriken. One shuriken takes care of them. And then you can drop down on this guy. If you do that, make sure you wait for him to get to this side of the building, because if you get him in the corner there, where these 2 spirit emblems are, then the archer will potentially see you. So with that done, come around the building here. And as you'll notice, the archer will most likely see me when I cross this gap, but there's an enemy here that we can just quickly strike. See, he's getting up. See, the archer noticed me. That's him shooting at me. And there he lost interest. Get this item. They want to come this way. The archer will see you again, but don't worry. He'll just stand there shooting. He's not going to walk towards you. When we get to this corner, stop here and wait for all of our yellow triangles to disappear. Because from this point, the archer can get you in his line of sight. There, he turns around. Now we can continue forward, but you want to watch out for that torchbearer over there. So, you don't want to go too far to the corner of the building as you're walking forward, because that torchbearer might see you. But you do want to jump up and grab the ledge. Oh, you can't, so you just gotta double jump. Been spotted, but that's okay. Just go ahead and brutally murder that archer. And then we can wait back here. I know the torchbearer saw me, and there might be one other bandit that did. Oh, the music is dying, which is a good sign. So these guys are coming this way. So let's hide here and get a corner kill on one of them. And this is lucky. When he turns around, I can get him. Somehow they don't see you when you do stealth kills, no matter how ridiculous it is. That was perfect. Now we only got 2 enemies over here, I think. Or is there the 3rd one down there? Can't tell if that movement over there is grass or a 3rd enemy. Oh man, I didn't even notice that guy. That's fortunate. So again, he'll also turn around. This game is widely varying in the experience you get. Just because what I did worked, your AI might not act the same way mine does. So if you find that you've pulled like 3 or 4 people, or even more than one really, especially if this is your first time playing, and you've got 2 enemies on you, don't be afraid to just run. You could run, hide back here maybe, you can climb up here, and get to the other side of this wall and they won't chase you. And then just wait for them to reset, and they'll turn around and you may be able to stealth kill one, and then escape again, and we can just keep doing that way. There's a lot of ways to play this game. So now what we can do is jump up here. These guys are pretty easy and don't notice very much because they've had a little too much to drink. But you can drop down and get one of them. Look towards the other. There's the Makiri counter. Oh, and we got a dog coming. Let's go and take care of him. And apparently we have pulled the attention of yet another enemy. So let's just wait for him. Can't hug this wall, but we can wait. Let's see if he sees me. Ha ha ha. Sneak. Alright, and now I can finally hold the square button, collect all that stuff, including this dousing powder, oops, this pellet, this Mibu balloon of wealth, and the whole reason we came here, the flame barrel. This is a Shinobi prosthetic tool that turns into literally a flamethrower, and is very good if you've been reading item descriptions or if you bought the memo from Anayama the Peddler. Then you might know that fire is very good against red-eyed enemies, which we are about to come across one very soon. So, with the flame barrel in hand, we can get out of here. Come up this hill. Talk to this guy.
Oi. 確か忍びよな。であれば王道の忍びよの奴らを頭蓋を叩き割ってたの。
And he hints at yet another shinobi tool, which I'm actually gonna get right now. We're not gonna use it yet, but I'm gonna walk right past it, so might as well. Make sure you stick to the right side here because there's enemies almost immediately to your left. Come this way, and be very careful because there's a couple of enemies on the other side of this door. You can actually eavesdrop on them.
次はこのお堂ですかい。いや、そこはいい。次に行くぞ。けんど、供え物でもあれば重蔵様に。やめんか。仏様には手出し無用。何度言えばわかるんだ、タコが。怒らないでおくれよ、兄貴。タコでごめんよ。
It's actually one torchbearer and one axe wielder, so I'm gonna try to sneak up best I can. Get this torchbearer. I'm gonna go ham on this guy. See, there's another enemy in there. So let's loot this. Open this. And there's our Shinobi Axe of the Monkey. Let's go ahead and take care of that bandit that was in here. Oop. Ah, that was a little embarrassing. Grab this light coin purse. Believe that's all that's in here. Oh yeah, loot. Yep. So then we can leave. We'll come back to this other courtyard later. But for right now, let's pick this up. This is a Gokun sugar, which reduces posture damage. And open up this door. And we find that this is the locked door in front of that archer, soldier, and dude patrolling the area part of the game. Which means we've unlocked a shortcut almost straight back to the Sculptor's Idol, which is perfect, because we're done here for now. So let's rest up. We got a skill point, so we can actually tell you what, before we do that, there's one thing I want to do, so. Travel back to the dilapidated temple to equip our new Shinobi tools. And you've also, if you're following along with me, I've unlocked the training for Makiri counter with, I think his name's Hanabe? I think it's Hanabe, the Undying. So let's talk to the sculptor.
戻ったか。
あれは夢なのか、それとも誠にあったことなのか。
さてな、夢かうつつか、わしにも定かなことはわからん。一つ言えるのは、仏様は、お前さんの古い記憶を起こしてくださっているだけじゃ。お前さんがどう思い、どう覚えていたか、すべてはそれ次第じゃ。
見るものすべてが正しく起こったことかはわからぬ。
そういうことじゃ。
And with these two things, we can get the flame event and the loaded axe. And when you get your third Shinobi prosthetic tool,
その
the
忍
sculptor
び
gives you
技
something.
術、随分と腕に馴染んできたようじゃな。お前さん、これを取っておきな。
The prosthetic esoteric text. This is why I hesitated on spending my skill point, because we just unlocked a new skill tree. This one focused mostly on the
お前さ
Shinobi
んの牙
prosthetic.
でどう噛み殺すか、それが書いてある。要は、忍び義手を使った戦いの術じゃな。
わかった。
まったく、義手の忍び技など、もはや無用と思っておったが、わからんものよな。ではな、また、久しくらいなら貸してやろう。
Alright. Wait, do I have any gourd seeds? So you can switch to your inventory if you haven't yet to get this pop-up. No, no gourd seeds. Okay, so now we have Chasing Slice, which is very, very good for closing the distance between you and the enemy you're locked on to. And Grappling Hook Attack, which is going to be very good on an upcoming boss. The reason I point this out is it's up to you, I think, at this point, if you want to get the Whirlwind Slash or the Grappling Hook Attack, in my opinion. The Grappling Hook Attack can be used against the mini-boss we're about to fight, as can the Whirlwind Slash, and I think the Whirlwind Slash has a better overall applications, and you could save the Grappling Hook until you really need it, which isn't until the first major boss. So I personally like to get the Whirlwind Slash here. I think it's better against the upcoming mini-boss than the Grappling Hook Attack is. So let's do it. And then we need to travel back to the Outskirts Wall Stairway Idol. And we get a pop-up at the combat art we just got. So you do have to equip the combat art. Now we've unlocked this. We only have one thing locked. And equip the Whirlwind Slash. Combat arts almost always are used by holding guard and hitting attack at the same time. This one, I'll show you on this chicken, does a nice little 2-hit whirlwind, exactly as it says. Sometimes they use spirit emblems to pull off. Alright. So, with all this, now we can do some things. Let's equip our... keep our firecracker, although it doesn't really matter. Most importantly, we want to equip the flame vent. Flame vent is great with creatures with red eyes. And if you remember, I talked about the mini-boss up there at the end of the stairs. It's called the Chained Ogre. He is such an enemy. So it's very, very helpful to take the time to go get the flame barrel so that you can use it against this boss. Before we do that, what I'm going to do is back up to Anayama back here.
Nanna, 待ってましたぜ。いただいた銭を元手に品を仕入れやした。さあ、買っていってください。
And now that you've given him the startup money, he's turned into a merchant. Currently, he sells pellets, ceramic shards, fistfuls of ash, litecoin purses, and the phantom kunai for 3,000 sin, which we will be getting. But the reason I came back here is because I would leave it to you if you want to go ahead and purchase these litecoin purses before we face this most difficult boss. If you don't want to risk losing your 735 sen, or however much you happen to have, then I highly suggest you go ahead and buy the litecoin purses. I think that I am going to risk it, however, and go without.
ところで旦那、聞いてください。
あ
あっしはね、商いをもっと大きくしたいと考えてやす。このアシナはいつ滅びるかもわからねえ。いわば沈みかけた船だ。つまり成り上がる好機じゃねえかと思うんでさ。そこで一つ頼みがありやす。
なんだ。
アシナの侍どもが今欲しがっているものは何か探ってきちゃくれやせんか。そいつが分かればアシナの侍どもと取引ができやす。旦那は忍びだ。敵方から情報を仕入れるいい耳をお持ちのはず。ぜひお願いしやす。
Which is the other reason I wanted to talk to him, because it furthers his quest line. Alright, so with all of that, we're gonna give this the old college try. You've got 2 enemies at the bottom here that you can eavesdrop on.
赤鬼め、縛るだけでは不安じゃのう。戦の前に我らが襲われてはしょうもないわ。いざとなれば火を使うしかあるまい。赤目は火を恐れる。そういうお達しじゃ。お達しね。変わっちまったな、アシナの戦も。
And they explain that you can use fire against red-eyed enemies. Between the 2 of these, if you have to choose, soldiers with the straw coats always tend to be a little more difficult than the regular soldiers, so you can run up and you're gonna get their attention, but you can sprint up and quickly stealth kill that guy. And get very aggressive with the other until he breaks his posture. Now you can hear the chained ogre. Come up the stairs here though to get an item. And here we're gonna try our best. So, before I pull his attention, what's gonna happen is he's tied up, and he's gonna take about 3 seconds to break out of his chains. and start coming at you. If you wanted to do this the normal way, you can use that opportunity to get quite a few hits in to make the fight a little bit easier. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get his attention and then run away until I lose said attention. When that happens, he'll be right around this gate and he'll turn around and start walking about to the middle of the stairs. While he's walking from the gate to the stairs, you can sneak up behind him and get a stealth attack, which then cuts his life in half, making this fight way more easier. So my suggestion is that you do that. As for the fight itself, he's all about giant swipes and swings, and most importantly, grab attacks. I think he's got 3 different grab attacks. One is extremely fast and only happens when you're very close to him and right in front of him. So as long as you don't stand in front of him, it's pretty easy to avoid. If you do happen to be in front of him, just dodge the minute you see that symbol pop up. Basically just always be dodging and try not to stay in front of him, because it's very, very fast and very hard to dodge. Another one is a quick leap forward and a grapple, which is a little bit easier to avoid because it's slow, but it also tracks your location, so it's better to just, instead of trying to dodge, like either run away from him or just constantly be dodging away from him. Try to get as much space as possible between you and him, because it's quite a leap. And then there's a third one that's even more ridiculous as to how far he travels and how well he tracks you, where he takes a few steps forward and then lunges to grab you. That one you're definitely going to start sprinting away from him. Apart from that, he has a move where he comes down with 2 fists and a big hammer. He does a left leg kick and then a right leg kick and then a shoulder drop. He does a 2-foot drop kick. A lot of these are pretty easy to dodge if you stay very close to him and circle around to the right, so to his left. If you can do that, then you will sidestep a lot of his attacks. And then when he finishes his attack, I pull off a whirlwind slash to get in a couple of hits, or a attack with my flame barrel. The flame barrel is going to be very useful because it's going to stun him for a good couple of seconds, and you can get, I want to say, 2 to 3 hits in. And once you do, you want to back away from him. And then he'll do another attack, and you try to get a second flame barrel. When you get the second one in, he'll actually catch fire and start taking burn damage. And that lasts a lot longer, and you can get like 4 to 5 hits in. So what you really want to do is you'll lock onto him, you kind of start circling to the right as he attacks. When he finishes an attack, you do the flame barrel, and then hit him 2 to 3 times. Then back away, then start circling him around him again until he does another attack, then do the flame barrel again, which should set him on fire, and then you can do 4 to 5 attacks, and then you repeat that process until it whittles his health down to 0. This is one of the fights where it's not going to be about posture. We're not going to try to deflect him. We're not even going to try to block him. We're just going to keep avoiding his attacks altogether and taking pot shots at him. Also, last thing is don't mash the flame barrel button, because you need a little bit of a gap between flame barrel activations for the second one to take effect. If you try to flame barrel him while he's already stunned with the first one, it won't do anything. So make sure you wait. Alright, all that said, last thing as this animation is happening is be careful, because if you go around the rock, there's another enemy at the top over there that you don't want to fall. So when he breaks free, there's the grapple. And notice that icon popped up. That enables you to use the grapple attack if you chose to get that instead. So run way away from him, and we want to wait for the health bar to go away. See, he's still coming this way. There he is. He still sees me, which means we need to back away even farther. And now he is going to ignore me. Don't rush back immediately, because it takes a little bit for him to turn around. And you want to wait for him to get through the gate because you would rather fight him on the other side of the gate than over here where there's less space over here. So now let's walk up to him, get that backstab. You might also want to use some of your sugars for this fight. I chose not to, but it's not a bad idea too. Just reminding me to grab attacks. And there you go, just in time to get grabbed. So that's the biggest problem right there. If you get grabbed, he'll lob you way over. And since there's a big old cliff over here, you can just get hurled right off and just immediately die. So what you want to do is that. There, the flame barrel stuns him. You can get 2 hits in. Try to stay to his left. There, he sets on fire. So you can do whirlwind slash, attack, attack, attack. Another whirlwind. And I think I just died. So if you die, then don't worry, because you can still resurrect, and it won't reset his health. Just make sure you heal when you resurrect. Ow. Flame barrel. Attack, attack. Flame barrel again. Attack with punch. Heal. Oh, there you go. First real death. And there it explains your actual losses upon death. I lost, well, the sin is what really hurts. Alright, well let's try that again. And the biggest issue is these guys respawn again, so we gotta kill them again. Loot. This time I'm going to be smart about it. Equip my sugars. Get away from them. His interest. Try to back up off the stairs because there's not very much space over there. Again, I keep forgetting to use my sugars. There we go. So there's his two-legged cross kick. That one hit, dodge, ow. Heal. get a prayer bead, and you get a free passive ability, a Shinobi Medicine rank 1, which increases the effect of your healing items. Alright, so with that done, we can move on. Go back and heal at the Sculptor's Idol if you need to. And we're going to continue through the Ashina outskirts next time. Until then, stay safe.